All right, welcome back to another show. We appreciate you coming back. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. We want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. His website is tacmd.com. That's tacmd.com. tacmd.com. I just talked to Adam the other day, actually. Although I think he's out in California at the moment because the man travels a little bit. I think he said he's out visiting his father. But anyway, Adam is saying the housing market seems to be turning a little bit back toward a seller's market a little bit. So, and that really has no bearing on why I recommend Adam. The reason why I recommend Adam is you can go to him and you're going to get an honest opinion of whatever your situation is. Even if it doesn't lead to you signing with him as a broker or as a real estate agent. And I know this because I've done it. I've gone into him and I said, look, this is my situation. I've told everyone about the situation possibly in the future with my mother-in-law. We wanted to find a place for her after my father-in-law happens to pass, whenever that may be. Hope it's not soon. And I went in there and I said, look, this is my situation. And the answer he didn't have, he had someone on speed dial, got them on the phone, answered the question, and then we talked about the real estate aspect of it. And then I told him what I was trying to do, and he's like, look, I don't know if you're going to be able to do this. He goes, because we were going to buy it, rent it out, and then have her move in whenever the time called for. And I said, look, I just want to break even on it as a rental. And he's like, I don't know if you can do that right now. Not at the price you're looking at. And so we set up the searches anyway, and it come to find out he was right. I can't find anything where I want it for the price I want it. So the plan is probably off for now, but the fact that he got zero money out of that conversation. Zero. But he spent the time with me to do it. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, even if it's not going to make him money, he's going to give you an honest assessment of the situation. And the only way I know that is from my own personal experience working with him. Now, granted, am I friends with the guy? Yes, I am. It is what it is. But I've also become friends with him after the sponsorship. It's not like I was friends with before and I was like, hey, man, twist his arm, have him sponsor a show. It doesn't work like that. So, point is, tacmd.com, tacmd.com, set up an appointment if you're even remotely thinking of doing it in the real estate market, or if you just need some kind of contact. He's got great contacts in the mortgage industry, great contacts in the legal industry as far as real estate's concerned. And that's what he did for me. He contacted a real estate lawyer to find out information that I needed. So, tacmd.com, tacmd.com. Okay. So, I've got to address the elephant in the room, or not in the room, which is Mike. So, I don't know if I fully explained it in the last one I did, but so Mike took a new position at work, plus his 3 boys play baseball. Or 2 boys play baseball, 1 might not be playing, maybe I don't know. At this point, they're all 3 into something, right? So the guy literally goes to work in the morning, comes home, has to go to one of the kids' things, because he's at a baseball field 5 days out of 5, or actually at this point, 7 out of 7, because he's got to go weekend tournaments for the older boy. And at the same time, his wife would actually like to spend some time with him. You know, he's got to do family stuff. He doesn't have time, and oh, by the way, I don't know if people have noticed, this isn't our full-time job. We are not professionals at this.
You guys are dancers.
We're not the Michael Flatley of the Irish dancing. You know,
no, it's more like Thunder from Down Under.
Pretty much. Yeah. So
dragging hogs over single moms' faces in the. Oh, sorry.
So essentially, Mike is. Whenever Mike can come back on, he is. He's not out of the show. Still Mike and I. It is what it is. But the man's got to work, and the work said he had to go take a new position and do other stuff. So, so for now, it's either going to be me alone, or like last week we had Jared in here, or this week we got Jeremy in here. For people that don't remember, Jeremy came on almost a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while because I know I started doing my own podcast thing with another company I was working with, and it's just become like, as I said, I haven't had a day off in 3 years from one of my 4 jobs. And you start to get burnt out a little bit and things happen. But I know you and I would text and we would plan for a day for me to swing by and either on my end or something else would happen. But it's good to be by.
It's tough to coordinate things, especially with me. I am not a good scheduler of things. I'm just not. Like, if I could do this every day at the same time every week, or not every day, every week at the same time, I would, right? But I can't. So, unfortunately, it is what it is. But I want to thank you for coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, the show's still going to come out. We're not ending it or anything like that. We're just having some scheduling issues. So, we don't want to disappoint the 7 people that listen to the show. Which, speaking of which, all right. So, I guess if we're talking show stuff. We got demonetized off of YouTube.
Really?
Yep. And the message that was sent said that we are apparently we were mass-produced content.
What does that even mean? Like you're putting out too much?
I think so. All right. I asked for an explanation, and I got an AI chatbot. Basically, I thought this thing was real until like the third message when it was the same bullshit over and over again. They just said it was mass-produced content, and I'm just like, we're not mass-produced. It's like it's the same. We're the same 2 voices. We're humans. I'm in a basement. Like I'm literally typing this. Like I'm in the basement editing. Like I don't even edit the audio. The only thing that's AI adjacent are the thumbnails because I type it into the Canva. So I use Canva for visual stuff, and they have their AI thing, and I tell the AI like, create a thumbnail for this podcast, and it creates a picture. Because before I was just using our regular show thumbnail and just putting that up for every single show and changing the name on it. So I was like, oh, this is great. It comes up with nice graphics and everything. That's the only AI thing we use for this whole thing. So someone said, like another bigger YouTuber said that they use their AI algorithm to basically purge channels.
Really?
So, but not purge them. Like you're not off. We're still on YouTube. And the other, but they're essentially demonetizing people for. But
now, can you get that back?
Eventually, maybe. The appeal didn't work, so we have to. I guess we have to wait like 6 months and then reapply. But the thing for us, the funny part of this is, I was like, if I was mass producing content, I would have earned more than $1 from YouTube.
Yeah,
which we haven't, because we don't get views on YouTube. We get listens on YouTube Music, and there's no monetization on YouTube Music. But the whole reason why we even put it on YouTube as an audio-only podcast was to get on YouTube Music, because a lot of people, I think only like 5 or 10% of podcast listeners watch it. The rest of them listen to it. So that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music.
I can imagine people driving in their car listening to it aren't looking at the screen. Well, I know some of them are. I've seen you.
Don't stop. Okay, don't need you crashing into shit. But no, right. So people are listening to this, and we time the show at an hour for that particular reason. The average commute time is an hour. So we time the show 45 minutes to an hour and 15 for a one-way commute, and you can listen to another show on the way back. Now, the problem is we only do one show a week, so people generally listen to us one time going in. And we're roughly around 20 to 25,000 listens. The views, though, if you go on YouTube, it says some of ours have 0 views because no one's going to watch a thumbnail for an hour. Mm-hmm. And so that's what YouTube does. So they offer this option to audio-only podcasts where they'll pull from our RSS feed. So basically every podcast that it gets a URL from the podcast host that everything picks from. So like Spotify, we don't upload it to Spotify. Spotify pulls it from our RSS feed. Apple Podcasts, same thing. And then other podcast apps pull from Apple Podcasts. Nope, we're not uploading to anything. Everything is grabbing from our RSS feed. That's how that works. All podcasts work that way. Well, YouTube does the same thing. And what they offer is they say, okay, we'll pull from your RSS feed and all the stuff underneath it, all the information you put in there, and we'll take your thumbnail and create the video. And I'm putting air quotes around video because it's just a static image of the of the podcast of the episode thumbnail, but they do that for us. And so, like, one of the messages I wrote back to the YouTube people is like, you guys pull from our RSS feed, you create our video, which probably makes it look like AI shit because it's just a thumbnail. There's no actual video. I was like, but that's what you're doing to it.
But, like, what if you put and I know that sounds stupid, like a goofy-ass slideshow of photos that go across the entire time. Does that then get past this, or?
It probably could, but then I would have to upload it separately.
Yeah.
So for me, the easier way to do it, I upload it to one place, which is, we use Simplecast as our podcast host. I upload the audio. I upload 2 thumbnails because I do the square one for the actual podcast apps, and I do the YouTube one. And I type in like a 2-sentence summary of what the show is. Everything else is, I've got it in there as like a static footer. So like all the contact info, all the all of Adam stuff, it's all there. It gets put on every episode. And it makes it really easy for me to upload because I don't edit this audio unless I listen to it and it sounds like complete shit, like, which we've had happen before. Something happened where, like, when we first started using the new mics, the wireless mics, we didn't know what we were doing with it, and so the first one sounded like crap. I had to raise the volume of it, bullshit like that, mm-hmm. Right? But I don't edit the words. But there's nothing in my mind that would say this is mass produced, especially if you're only putting out an episode a week.
Yeah.
If it was mass produced, I put it. If I was doing AI shit, I would put it out every single day because I would get more views and more money.
It's so weird to me because, like, even dealing with these companies, I've talked about it, and I'll give you an example. Not the same thing you're talking about, but when I tried to cancel, like, Disney or Netflix or Hulu, like, all the different, obstacles you have to go through. It's not as simple as just going on and clicking it, and they make you do this, and then you gotta, wait, you click this link and go to this, and then tell us what. It's so much BS that at one point I just shut down my bank account to alleviate my issues with this. And just recently, one of the companies that sells my picks, pickdogs.com, they signed up with Prize Picks, and okay. So they asked everybody to create an account at Prize Picks, and you can deposit money. They'll match this. They'll give you that. So I said, all right, what the hell? So I go on, deposit $100, and then I realized, well, Prize Picks is illegal in Maryland. Yeah, you can't do that. The one thing you can do is this new, like, Kalshi Polymarket betting stuff that's going on.
We can talk about that in a minute, by the way.
Where I can gamble on the weather and all these other stupid things that I don't want to gamble on. I don't care about that stuff. And then I realize I can't do it. So obviously I'm not going to leave my $100 in there, right? So I'm just going to withdraw it. Withdraw my $100. Error on our side. Withdraw my $100. Error on our side. So then I speak to somebody with it wasn't a chat bot. It was an actual person. And I'm going back and forth with them of what my issue is and why I want to withdraw. Are you sure this is what you deposited with? I'm like, it's the only thing that's on there. It's the only card that you have attached to it. So yes. Have you tried it multiple times? Yes. And then we go back and forth through this whole thing to where finally their answer is, I don't know, try it again in a few hours. Like, no, is there another way for you? Can you mail me a check or something? Because this is BS, So, yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of these companies make it so difficult for you. And I don't know if it's the same thing with YouTube. Just trying to figure out, like, what do I have to do to make this work?
Yeah, so unless you're a really large channel on YouTube, you don't talk to a real human. I'm figuring this out. I think once you get to like 1 million plus subscribers, then you get you basically
like a liaison kind of.
You get a handler.
Yeah.
Who you can contact, and they'll answer. For someone like me, I think we got now we got 780 subscribers. We don't have any subscribers on this show, because again, we're not video. But we get no one to interact with. It's just the AI chat bot. It's like, so there's not. If we were actually making money on YouTube, I would fight it. But I'm only there so I can be on YouTube Music.
Yeah.
Because this is one of those situations where there's four major streaming platforms for audio stuff. And there's some minor ones, like Tidal is one, but I don't think too many people use that. But you've got Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music, and there's one more. And it's not a big name, and I can't remember what it is, but it's massive. And the whole purpose is you want to be on one of those 4.
Yeah.
What did I say? I said, oh no, YouTube Music is the other one. That's the 4th one.
Okay.
But then there is one more, and I can't remember what it is. But anyway, so those 4. If you're on those 4, your podcast can be seen, I think, by 95% of the population. And so now it's not like we have a handler at Spotify or anywhere else. So I'm not saying that, but like, we also don't earn money from those other places. There's ways to do revenue thing, memberships and shit like that, but they take a cut. And so we want to set up something where it's direct to us and nobody, like a lot of people use Patreon.
Yeah.
Well, Patreon takes like 40%.
Does it? See, I've never used it, but a lot of people in the gambling industry use Patreon.
So Patreon's like, well, this is our platform. We do the payment processing, so you're going to pay, and more people are going to see you because you're on Patreon. And so I believe they take up to 40%. And I'm like, no, why would I do that? Like, I'm not going to have someone think they're giving us money because they like our show for 40 cents on the dollar to go to someone they don't give 2 shits about. Like that, to me, that's a little disingenuous.
GoFundMe's very similar to that too, about the different percentages. And I know there's different things that you can do on there, but I know from obviously raising money and hearing from people firsthand that they take a chunk.
And a lot of people don't realize, like, if you have a PayPal account that's a personal one and not a business one, you can set up a donate button if you ever wanted to do something like that, or you can set up a PayPal account just for that situation. And PayPal only charges the transaction fee. So basically, it's usually 3.5% plus like 35 cents for the transaction because they get charged by the credit card company, and you keep the rest. And so, but a lot of people don't realize that they can create a button, put it on their website, and it just goes directly into their PayPal account rather than having someone try and take like an extra 15 to 20% because they've got employees and buildings and all this other shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. We're still going to have this on YouTube Music, but I'm not fighting a monetization thing where I don't make any money. There's no point in that.
It's just a waste of time and your effort.
Well, and to be honest, it's like, even if we were monetized on YouTube, they take a percentage of it too. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, and look, I get it. Not everyone knows how to do the PayPal button or whatever else, but for about 20 minutes of an online YouTube search, oddly enough, you can search on YouTube how to get around this stuff. It's extremely easy to do if people just do that. And you cut out the middlemen. And so that's what I try and do with us. But I also don't try and push any memberships. Or like we have like a subscribe thing. Mm-hmm. Not a subscribe. Membership? I don't know. On the bottom in our...
I think it is subscribe because that's what it has on like the company again that I was working for. They have subscribe on there, so you can follow, and then it doesn't really give you the option. It's like the next thing is subscribe sometimes.
So our thing, when we click on subscribe on our website, it just gives buttons where people can go click. Like it'll give like an Apple Music button, so when they click on it, it goes to our show on Apple Music.
That's cool.
That's what we do. That's what we do. We did not think it through. I think we have a donate page. And we call it, join us on the driveway or some bullshit. And like, after a while, we're like, why are we charging people? Like, it just, I don't know. As 2 guys who, this isn't our real job, it's felt weird. We keep it up there. It's like $1, $2, or they can do $5.
Yeah.
But it was also back when we were doing whiskey tasting. Like, how can we offset this whiskey tasting? And this was before we had sponsors. And so we were like, well, this is getting a little expensive. And so we said, look, if you buy us a bottle of whiskey, we'll drink it on the show. And so that's how that got started. And then, of course, we stopped drinking whiskey because we were trying to lose weight and we were just enormous people. And I can even get into that if we want to talk about that because Mike's doing awesome with his weight loss.
Good stuff.
He's well over 100 pounds lost. It's incredible.
That's awesome. Adding years to the end of that life.
Yeah, especially, for him, he's a massive dude. Six.
That is a big human being. And he's big everywhere. I peed next to him. No, He is. He's one of those guys. It's like his arms are huge, his legs are huge. He's got a big ass noggin too, but don't tell him I said that.
Well, next time he's in here, I was going to make fun of him a little bit. Like, man, the rest of you got small, but your head just stayed really big. You ever notice that? Like some people lose like a lot of weight, their head still looks like. Then it looks weird because the big head is on like a lesser, like it's almost on like the toothpick.
Yeah,
it's like,
well, that's how it's funny. So I guess I'll name drop here, and if he hears about it, oh well, he knows it's all in good fun. But Ken Wyman, when he lost a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. And then when I was getting married, Ken was in my wedding because we were doing the show together when I asked, the people to be my groomsmen. And Ken showed up at my wedding with brand new teeth as well. And so, like, every time I looked back at him, I kept doing, like, Gary Busey from Point Break. It's like, hey, the ex-presidents are surfers. Or we were doing smoking and, like, all these, anything you could think of with big teeth. Hey, Agent Utah, make it too. But then I was looking at it the other day, you're talking about weight loss, and he was doing a video online. And Adam Jones retweeted his video and says, why do you look like RoboCop? And then I looked at it, and my heart just dropped out of my chest because it's probably the funniest thing you'll ever see. And then when you look at the RoboCop and Wyman in that video, oh my God, it's just beautiful. It's a chef's kiss.
Yeah, so he's doing good with that.
Good.
So when he comes back, I'll make fun of him.
But there are some people, like, you lose weight and you just look different because you've seen somebody that way for so long.
So maybe I should put this out there, but so a lot of people are on the weight loss drugs, me included. And I don't know if you noticed, but people that go on those drugs that don't stop before, I'm not going to say before it's too late because they're still in good shape. Like, they're much better than they were. But they kind of get like a sunken face a little bit, where it's almost like, it's not the Skeletor look, but it's like you can start to see bones, like cheekbones.
They just look way too skinny.
Yes.
And it's something, especially looking at someone's face for such a long period of time, if it's a little rounder, and then all of a sudden you start edging it, or the skin gets tighter, and you're like, yeah, you look better with the round face.
Yeah, the funny part, like, you're so happy for them because they lost the weight, but at the same time, like, might have gone about a little too far.
Yeah, I had one, and the other thing that people have to realize, and we've all done it, but when you're a certain weight and you start to lose weight, it doesn't mean that you move down to that next shirt size right away. Because I had a friend who had like an athlete's jersey, and he really wanted to wear it, and he said, I haven't worn this in years, and when he put it on, he looked like Ralphie in the Christmas Story. He couldn't move or Ralphie's little brother, whatever it was. Because his arms were so tight because the jersey was way too tight. It's like you still need a couple of notches down this list to wear that.
It's like, bros, if you ain't in schmedium territory
yet,
and you got to keep that large going.
Yeah, you'll look good in the large, and then just filter your way down.
That's right. In fact, if you buy the same one, people won't even know it's a different jersey.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about the gambling websites, so I wanted to talk to you about Polymarket and Kalshi. Mm-hmm. From my understanding, and I, if someone knows and can put comments on whatever platform you're listening on, I thought it was completely illegal to bet on politics.
They found a way around this, and
right.
I still don't understand it. I've had meetings with a couple different people, believe it or not, about creating something similar to what Polymarket's doing, something that's more user-friendly, where the companies, like, because even if you took such a small percentage of the people that are gambling, you would still be making bank. And so that's what this whole point was. Hey, come bet with us, where the user has a better chance to make more money. Anyway, we were talking about Kalshi and Polymarket a ton, and I'm going, I don't get it. And the worst thing about it, which I'm assuming we'll get to as well, is there's so much insider trading that goes on, and guys are taking advantage of it, and how is that right on any level? And you're seeing it with politics now, where people were betting on the war, and it's like, all right, how do you know we're going to have boots on the ground at this point? How do you know this is what's going to be said on television? And it gets to the point, what do you mean they're invading Venezuela and somebody bet on that and got it right? Like, some guy had made almost $1 million off of it. How is that okay?
Yeah, and one of the things I was thinking about, and this was big during the last election. I don't know if you remember this story. There was there was a pollster, I think it was whatever the Iowa newspaper is, and this person had done polls for, I think, 30, 40 years, very respected individual. She was retiring right after this election. And she had Kamala Harris winning Iowa. And it was big news. She had her winning by like 10 points. And it was like, oh, this is going to be... But if there was and there was the betting platforms. What if she put out that poll so that she could get better odds to bet on Trump winning Iowa and lead everyone else to bet the other side? Because as in betting, if everyone starts betting Kamala Harris to win,
the line goes up.
Right. And
the odds go up.
And the odds for Trump to win would go up because all the money's starting to go on Kamala Harris, and they want more money to go on Trump to kind of even it out.
See, and this is exactly the next thing I was going to talk about, because that's the other bad part about this, is taking advantage of it and swaying people to go one way and then you taking the other side and reaping the benefits of it. Because, like, there have been times on Polymarket where, I'll keep it sports related, but you understand, like the NFL draft of betting who's going to go where. And all of a sudden you'll see the odds change and it'll be like, there's a 97% chance this is happening. And then all of a sudden, a minute later, the exact opposite happens. Now, is there a chance that the 3% actually hit? Yeah, it's going to hit 3 out of every 100 times. But it's so much BS because there are people taking advantage of all these pockets and ways around. And I just don't know how it's even legal or how they're not even cracking down on this yet.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this lady did that, but man, a lot of things add up to say that she might have. Because, again, she's retiring after the election. She's going to go back into obscurity. She's going to go be a regular person. No one's probably ever going to find out. I mean, talk about a payday. And she can influence the line and take... And if she sees the real numbers, because obviously those were not real numbers, I mean, I can see, like, if she was up by like 1 point or 2 points in hers and she lost by like 3 or 4, okay, that's within an error margin. But you got her up by 10 points, and she lost, I think, by 5. That's a 15-point swing. That's not within the error. That's not within the margin of error.
Yeah, but what if you're sleeping with an NFL head coach and you know who they're going to draft or who they're going to trade for?
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. It's all the way.
That would ever happen.
It's all the way. But like, this person had a way to manipulate the line and profit off of it. And like, so let's say the reporter knew who they were going to draft. And put out a report saying, "Oh, they're going to draft this guy instead." So then the odds go up on the actual.
That would be similar
one.
to what you're talking about right now.
And the reporter themselves put the money on the real draft pick, but they wanted better.
Like,
they want a better outcome.
This is no different than Jonte Porter, who was on the Raptors, and his buddies going, "Hey, I need you to get over 3.5 points tonight." And he's hucking up shots left and right, trying to get there. Or if they need him to finish under, he does this or that. Like, it's just insider trading, and they've tried to crack down on it. I know they just busted somebody, but it's like, are we really going to get to the people that know? Because if I'm sitting in a meeting and you tell me this is what we're doing next, and I go bet that and keep betting it and keep betting it, like, I'm ripping off people because I've already won. You remember in the movie, what was it, Vegas Vacation, where he goes in and he goes, "What number am I thinking of?" And he's between 1 and 10. He's like, 7, no. 4, no. He's just going to say no every time and keep your damn money.
Yeah. Yeah, and people have been... People, like, I probably shouldn't name... See, this is why I'm not a reporter. Mm-hmm. I just say, well, they say. Well, who's they? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do not like the fact that... I'll be tread carefully. Politicians, they know outcomes before they happen. Mm-hmm. For example, they know who's going to get a defense contract before it's announced. I have a theory that a lot of these politicians knew that there was going to be an EULA, Emergency Use Authorization, for the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccines during COVID. And the reason why I say that is because I looked at the stock price of Moderna. And I believe in March 2020, it was about $30 a share. They started talking with the EU. Moderna started talking to the EU for authorization there, and they got EULA, I believe it was in June of 2020, so about a couple months later. Stock price went up to $450 a share.
Jeez.
So if they knew, and they knew beforehand it was going to happen, and I know that because everyone knows I work in government, so I know how the timeline works for some of these things. Things happen, and there's a moratorium on announcement so that politicians can go and grandstand and say, I brought this amount of money to my constituents. Now, I don't work in that kind of arena where it would be that beneficial, or beneficial at all. I don't work in that kind of thing, but so essentially, like, they could have known that these were the three candidates, and back then it was Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson. Or it was Pfizer. It was Pfizer and BioNTech. That was the two that got together. So Pfizer basically put their might behind BioNTech, and Moderna was the other one, and then J&J. And J&J actually ended up pulling theirs first. They had some issues, but that was the third one that went out. Anyway, so the politicians would have known ahead of time that the EULA was going to go out for those three, and there was probably about a 2-month lag. So if you buy the stock in March, and it happened to be June when the announcement comes out, you just got a 14 times return on your investment.
Yeah.
And they do this a lot.
Insider trading. I mean, it's essentially what it is.
Well, and that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. But, I mean, so my thing is this. I mean, like, everyone thinks it's not a good thing. Like, you tell anyone that, and they're like, oh, this is awful. Except for the politicians. But they're like, oh, I didn't know. Because they're all supposed to have their money in a blind trust, and they don't. But they do. Well, they have their money in a blind trust. But you want to know who doesn't? Their sons, their daughters, their cousins, their uncles, their husbands or wives. Like, there's other ways around this for them to make money. But now imagine that something like that could be bet on a Polymarket or a Kalshi. And so now let's say the FDA employee knew ahead of time and had a way to make money. And they could just kind of give a tip to their cousin and say, hey, look, go put 20 on this, and you're going to get a 15 times return.
See, and that's what they're doing, is getting people, and try not to get the trace back to them. You're giving someone else the information to bet, a go-between, and you give them a cut of that, and you take the rest. And there are people that are making 7 figures off of this stuff.
Yep, and everyone knows, like, don't put anything in writing. So that's what they do is they go and say, hey, let's meet up at Applebee's, and they go and tell them at Applebee's, and that's how it happens. And there's no trace back to the person at the FDA or whatever agency. There's no trace back. The person could say they did, but now it's hearsay.
Yeah.
That person's still safe at the agency that it happened at. There's so many loopholes around the laws around this stuff, and that's why I think Kalshi and Polymarket are super dangerous. I think they're more dangerous. I mean, don't worry, I'm not. I bet on sports, but I feel like there's much more money to be made in a Polymarket or a Kalshi where you can bet on anything, because there are so many topics that will be so under the radar that not many people are betting on, that could be really manipulated.
See, and
nobody's gonna look at it.
The weird thing is, the appeal of it initially was, let's go to this platform where you're not betting against the house, you're betting against other people. And it's like, so that way it's fair, and you don't have to worry about getting taken advantage of. And it's the exact opposite that's happening in a lot of these situations, where it's somebody coming in, excuse me, that has information already and knows what's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's going to happen.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
I don't say things with 100% certainty a lot. I will 100% with certainty say that it's already happening. And these companies are just pumping out ads, and they're pumping it at the people who know they'll vote, who will know will use it. Just, it's really, really a scary thing, especially in politics. And it's just, I don't know.
I used to have people ask me, it's like, how can you bet on wrestling and like WrestleMania, or how can you bet on the NFL draft when you know somebody has inside information, or the color of the Gatorade at the Super Bowl? And I said, specifically, like, they would limit you right off the bat. Like, you can only bet a maximum of $50 on this. Like, there are certain limits on Kalshi and Polymarket, but there's some that you can go really high with the money that's being put out there. So yeah, I mean, I can't stand it. I've stayed away from it. I haven't created an account on either one.
Neither do I think that's probably going to be, if I'm predicting 5 years from now, one of those two websites is going to be part of a huge scandal.
Oh, I think it's already happening. So I think they call it culture betting.
Something like that. It's going to be very similar to people that follow like the Sam Bankman-Fried thing. Mm-hmm. It's going to be on that level. Like billions of dollars are going to be moved somewhere. It's just going to be massive.
Have you seen the guy that was playing on Gotham and what was on the OC? He's the one that interviewed him and has the documentary about. Like, he interviewed those guys before the collapse.
Oh, really?
And he's like a financial. I don't want to call him a genius, but that's what his degree was in college. I don't know the guy's name.
Is it Michael Lewis? Are you talking about the guy from The Big Short?
No, it's an actor. He played oh God, now it's going to drive me insane. On Gotham, he played the cop. Who the show's about with who is the police commissioner in Batman? So he plays him as a cop. And he was on the OC, but he's a financial guy. And if he's been going around, he just did an interview with, I think, Bill Maher and a handful of other people. You'll recognize his face as soon as you see him. It's just...
I'm just going to Google it.
He's one of those actors that you don't know his name. But yeah, he's been going around as I guess you would call him an expert on this stuff when it comes to financial matters, Bitcoin, and different things like that.
Wow. Google machine tells me...
You know what?
Jim Gordon? Wait, that's the character's name, isn't it?
That's
Ben McKenzie.
Ben McKenzie, that's the guy. Wasn't he on the OC or?
I'm not even sure. I
thought you were a big OC fan back in the day. Yeah, so he was on Gotham.
Look, man,
the OC.
Just because I liked Adam Brody as an actor doesn't mean I was big into the show.
You'll recognize his face, but he's making his rounds on all the shows. I think he went on the Daily Show, talking about all this.
I don't know how you remember that. I like that show. Damn. I thought that was hidden. I thought that was buried.
Hey, man.
Really
Some
low.
secrets deserve to come out.
No, that one didn't. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, there's just so many ways to make a buck as a criminal.
Yeah.
I'm laughing.
I mean, people are taking, like, even the phishing schemes that go on now. Like, it used to be the Nigerian princes, but now people are getting fake FedEx numbers, or hey, this is the post office, or this is a traffic ticket you have and you have to pay it. And there's a sucker born every minute, man.
Speaking of the Nigerian princes, so because we get emails as a show, and a lot of them are, hey, I've got this product I want to sell you, or I want you to sell for us. And it's like, I don't know, it's some weird shit out of like it's usually out of Pakistan or India, or a different country in Africa. It's always someone there. Never anyone from like Europe, you know. Although I feel like Bulgaria would be pretty corrupt. I'm surprised no one from there is. Not that I know my European countries very well, but I feel like that would. I should see some emails from like Latvia, right? You never hear about Latvia.
Well, I mean, if you play in the NBA, you do.
Who was it? Who was that? There was a big man that was from Latvia, wasn't it?
They have a couple of them. Now I'm trying to think of all the different names, but you got a lot of Serbians and Slovenians. You got a lot of Ians in there. Some of the best. I mean, we started talking about this the other day, not to switch it to sports, but who's the best American basketball player right now, and who's the best players in the league, and are more of them not from this country? Like SGA's from Canada, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Luka. It's crazy.
We're going to talk about the NBA for a minute, because Michael Wilbon went off on the NBA. So he was on, I forgot which show he was doing. He was a guest on someone's show in studio. And they were talking about the new rules.
Was he being interviewed by Stephen A?
No. It was a 4-person group.
Because I remember seeing this, but go ahead. Sorry.
And the reporter on the group and the show was basically saying the new rules that were being proposed or approved by Adam Silver to address the tanking issue. And essentially it was, if you were in the bottom 3, you only got 2 ping pong balls. If you were in 4 to 10, you got 3. So you got more ping pong balls if you weren't in the bottom 3. And then 2 to 3, I think, was like the next tier. And that was supposed to be the solution to tanking. And Wilbon just went off. He goes, that's not going to work. People are still going to tank. He goes, you have to address load management. And because in his mind, the NBA has lost a lot of its appeal. Now, as someone who, I used to love the NBA in the 90s, in the late 80s, the 90s, but that's also when I grew up, I had more time to watch it too.
I still love it, but I'm so angry at it. But go ahead.
But even like the early 2000s, right? Where it was just, I don't know how to describe it. It was different. The atmosphere was different. Players seemed to really hate each other. There seemed to be more effort involved in the game. Like on the court, it looked like players played harder. And there was one quote I remember. Someone had, and I think you know about this. Someone had asked, and I might be getting the quote wrong, so I'll paraphrase, but basically someone asked Kobe Bryant why he played every night. And he said because, essentially, if a parent brings their kid to the game and they can only go to one game, and I don't play, and they're coming to see me, and I'm his favorite player, he goes, that's wrong for me not to play because I might be tired. He goes, I'm paid to play a professional sport, and there's more to it than just that. That was, I think I'm paraphrasing.
That's the essence of the quote, yes.
And I don't feel like today's NBA players share that same sentiment. And I don't want to say all of them because I think some do. But for your biggest superstar to have that sentiment, I feel like that trickles down. And I feel like Jordan was the same way. Magic, Bird, like all of those guys. Like they went out. I mean, Bird had almost no backbones. Like not backbone, like in but like his actual bones in his back were degenerating.
His back was broken.
And like he would go, and I remember this. He would lay down on his stomach on the sideline when he was out of the game, and then he would pop up. He'd go play, and when he needed, but he played. Mm-hmm. He didn't take those days off. He played, and I don't know if it was for the same reasons, but shit, and with like, the ticket prices for an NBA game, I don't know what the Wizards charge now. I think it's like $75 for nosebleeds, though. It's pretty high up there.
In the beginning of the year, yeah, and then it starts to come down as you realize how bad the teams are, and you're desperate for people to come in.
But think about it, if I want, as a family of 4, and I use that because that's, I think, the general family size in America. A family of 4, you want to take them to a game, one game a year. Well, the tickets alone are $300. If it's $75, and this is for the cheapest seat in the house. And then you want dinner, snacks, whatever. People are like, well, you don't have to eat when you go to a game. Well, shut the fuck up. If I'm going,
even if you take that out, put in parking, put in all the other stuff that comes along with it. You know, like
sure, but my kid's gonna want a hot dog. Mm-hmm. You know, and like I'm there to make it a good time for my kid. So if the kid wants a hot dog that should probably cost about $1.50, that costs $6.
And factor in if you're doing it once a year, you're probably realizing, hey, I'm going to spend a little bit more.
Right, but if that one outing costs you close to $600, so tickets plus extra. Most people, now it's a financial decision. It's just straight up like, is this what I want to spend $600 on? And I could go, and there's no superstar in the Wizards, so let's say I was going to a Lakers game, which I'm sure $75 isn't the cheapest ticket there. I'm pretty sure it's probably closer to over $100. And so now if my outing is $700-800 because I want to go see LeBron, and LeBron decides he's tired on a back-to-back, like, dude, you play basketball for a fucking living. You know, get some sleep, play the next day.
He's one of the few guys that hasn't been a part of this load management. He used to, though. Oh, he played all the time. I mean, now he's older and he's getting banged up, so I understand, like, there are vet days that they're going to give him, but like, as much as I love Greg Popovich, it starts with him and being a problem, because once the Spurs got old and they were winning, he's like, hey, I got to get these guys some rest because the more important games. So he would just bench his top 4 players. You'd see Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and maybe Bruce Bowen or whoever else. Like, hey, you guys are sitting. You're not even coming to Miami with us. And you're going, what the hell is that? And I just remember there was the one point where I think Steph Curry was the Warriors were at the Spurs, and there was this kid from Mexico. His family saved money all year long. The whole trip, everything cost like $6,000. And some people would say, well, if you had the money to afford that, then you'll be able to. It's not the point. The travel, all that stuff, the stay, to get this kid to see his favorite player. And Steph wasn't playing because of load management. Not only Steph, this was an NBC or one of those Saturday night games that was national. And this is why the NBA started to look into it and get pissed off, is that you have this nationally televised game where the Warriors coming in, the champions, are sitting their 4 best players that night. And you think about that kid and not even getting to see him. You might see him dressed on the sideline if he happened to fly along with the team. But I mean, it's crap. And the load management stuff is ruining the sport. I don't think what they're doing with the lottery is too bad to try, because those top 4 teams, you're going to have to see some teams trying to win there, because you don't want to be one of the 4 worst teams in the league.
But the problem with that is it's the whole reason why they do the reverse draft. So basically, the worst team gets the first pick. And the NBA is a little bit different, but they usually get the best chance to get the first pick. Is so that the teams have some sort of parity through the years. So you're
actually trying at the end of the year. It doesn't mean Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So, but that's the only thing I can see, is that the bottom 3 teams, it kind of almost pushes them further down. And without a relegation system like a soccer, where let's say the bottom team, like the Wizards or something, would end up being in the G League, and the top G League team would come up, where there's real incentive to not be in the bottom 3. Now all it does is, but it's going to basically push a team like the Wizards, who keep coming in the bottom 3. Let's say because they have less of a chance to get the number 1 pick, and they're picking 5, 6, 7, whatever, it doesn't give them the best chance to get parity back for the Wizards. Now, don't get me wrong, the Wizards can't seem to draft anybody.
Well, they had one draft there where the first 6 out of the first 7 players hit, and the one that didn't was the guy the Wizards took. And look, I understand that from that standpoint, but be better. You're talking about the big leagues here and worrying about a team that might get stuck in peril of becoming bad. Get a better GM. Right. Draft better, make better trades, because they keep making the same dumb trades. Like, how many people this year with the Wizards, and I don't know if they'll be good, when they traded for Trae Young, they traded for Anthony Davis, and you start to look at it, I don't know what they're going to look like next year. They could be absolutely amazing, or like that Redskins team that spent all the money in the offseason and traded for all these pieces, and then all of a sudden it just blew up in their face. But yeah, I don't have a problem with what they're doing with the lottery. You at least got to try something, because these front offices, I mean, I saw Jaren Jackson Jr. got traded from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Utah Jazz. During that flight, he somehow got put out for the year because there was something wrong. And you're going, what could have happened from the flight to Memphis to Utah? Because Utah wants to lose as many games as possible.
He just didn't wear his compression socks, and he got a blood clot, probably.
See, it's mind-boggling. And I couldn't even imagine being a basketball player and saying, hey, yeah, I'm not going to play.
I think once you're, and I know this is probably more cynical, I think once you're making that kind of money, if the coach says you're not playing, you don't argue it.
No, I get that part of it. I'm just saying, as a player, you could sit here and say, I'm playing tonight, that I'm not going to be a part of the load management. And look, being fair to teams, you get to the end of the year and you've locked up everything and your players sit, that comes with the territory. We know that.
It happens in the NFL in week 18 or week 17, whichever weeks, however many weeks there are now.
It would be 18 now, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to go to 19.
They are. So what's going to happen is
2 bye weeks.
They want to go to that, and they want the
actually, it's going to be 20 weeks.
They want the Super Bowl to fall on President's Day, so you get the day off after the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. It's all going to happen. There'll be double bye weeks, so.
I worry about that, though. So it's very similar to my thoughts on baseball, basketball, hockey. The seasons are too long. Think about the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs.
They're off for a month and a half.
But they go to June.
Yeah, and then the summer league starts.
Right, but this is, look, basketball, I'm sorry, you got to be done by March. But the problem is then they don't want to coincide with March Madness, because March Madness is massive. So March, then end in April. Cut it short by 2 months.
They're going to keep taking as many games
Oh, yeah,
as they
but
can to get the dollar.
as long as they can make money from the stands, they're going to have live game. Well, I guess the TV is more the driver, but it drives me nuts, man. It's too long. It's just too long. Like, that's why, like, for baseball, man, baseball had set themselves up this year to just blow up as far as, like, viewership wise because of the World Baseball Classic. I think we had you and I had talked about this before, but I think it was over text though. But I was like, man, I'm so amped up for baseball from the World Baseball Classic, and then it just fizzled.
Well, you realize there's like, so at one point we had 3 teams with a winning record in the American League. I just read something. All the teams in the NL West are on 3-game losing streaks at a minimum, including the Dodgers. And you go, is that really? There's so many teams that are mediocre. There's like, and the Dodgers are one of the good teams that are just on a losing streak right now. But the Yankees and all the different teams up top that you look at that you know are going to be good. And then there's just everybody else. And they're just kind of, hey, they're really good for this stretch. Well, oh my God, we suck again. You know, like it.
Even with baseball though, so like back in the Jeter years, almost anyone could tell you the starting 9 for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Now, other than Judge, I'm trying to think of one other person. I know there's this the shortstop, little white guy, New York raised. I forgot his name.
Well, he's hurt. Volpe, is that
Volpe? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He hasn't. He's not even been on the team.
So he didn't. I couldn't name you another Yankee.
I can go through the whole lineup, but again, that's.
But you also work in the industry.
Ben Rice is a name you need to know. He's that first baseman, left-handed hitter they have, hitting bombs. Giancarlo Stanton's still there.
He's been hurt.
Ahmad Rosario is a guy, like they've resurrected him. Caballero is their shortstop now, and that guy seems to be either stealing bases or hitting home runs every other game.
But see, here's the thing, though. I'm a
And Cody Bellinger.
I am a baseball fan. I could probably name you 90% of the Orioles team. But back in the day, when the Yankees were on top of it all, and I as much as people don't like it, I think it was good to have the evil Yankees.
Yeah.
It was a villain that the rest of the country could hate, and that the New Yorkers loved. And it was, you got to beat Goliath. But the fact that I can't name, the regular fan can't name more than 2 people on the Yankees right now, that's horrible for baseball.
You know, the other thing, too, is back in those days, the lineups were almost always set. You'd have a guy getting a day off here or there, but you're playing 162 games. Most of the guys on your team, unless they get really hurt, are playing 150 of them.
Okay, so this is another point that gets lost in a lot of the fandom. And I hate that the Orioles do this bullshit. As an Orioles fan, I fucking hate it. Other than Pete Alonso playing first base and Gunnar Henderson playing shortstop, they move everybody else the fuck around. Stop that shit.
It's new baseball.
I don't like it. No. For fans, your right fielder's your right fielder, center fielder's your center fielder, left fielder's your left fielder, second base. Set some fucking positions.
The only thing is set, well, the other one that's set is Ward's in left field. So you're going to have him there. I don't think they knew who their center fielder was going to be. They expected Colton Cowser to be fine, but the guy can't hit a damn changeup. Yeah, I mean, it's been a struggle. And, like, look, all the injuries. Nobody wants to hear it. It's back-to-back years, but they had so many damn injuries. It's hard to overcome, and they're still right there in the playoff picture.
I get that part. And to be honest, I don't know. Remember the kid's first name? The Jackson kid?
Holiday?
No,
Jeremiah Jackson.
Yes. The kid who's playing a stellar second base and hitting the shit out of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Jackson Holiday, and I said this years ago, Gunnar Henderson should have stayed at third base. Because they had Jackson Holiday coming, who has played shortstop his whole life. You have an all-star third baseman in Gunnar Henderson. Now, granted, he's an all-star at shortstop, but I think they made Jackson Holiday's transition into the major leagues that much more difficult by making him switch positions. And now you've got a kid who can play second base. You're not going to replace. If they put Jackson Holiday in the other Jackson's spot at second base with him playing this well, then it's fucking buffoonery.
See, I'm 100% disagree with you on it because that's what I'm doing. That's the former number one overall pick that you're working to be your second baseman of your future, and to take a guy that's had a hot streak here. And it doesn't mean Jeremiah Jackson doesn't play. I'm moving him to third base because he's played there. Is he great there? No. But is anybody on this team great there? Answer, no.
The answer is yes.
Who?
Gunnar Henderson.
Well, I mean, then you're looking for a shortstop, and you're doing the whole thing all over again.
Put Holiday back at short.
But again, they had this plan all along because Holiday's arm, they don't think strong enough to be from that spot. They liked him better at second base.
You know, sometimes plans change. Well, when shit changes,
that's a lot to move around this year. And again, who knows what they would have done because Holiday got hurt.
You're a 500 team. Make some changes. You know, like, come on now. Like,
I'm not sitting my kid of the future that I expect to be on this team and probably sign an extension here.
No, but you don't sit him. You just put him back to his original position to make his transition.
Well, then you're moving everything. No,
you're just moving one person. You're just moving Gunnar.
No, it's
that's
not
it.
Happening. That's not happening.
No, don't worry. I know it's not happening. But I'm not saying I know better.
I feel like that lady in Get Out. Oh no.
I just take, you've got one or two pieces that are actually working for you right now.
Yeah.
And you're going to move that guy to a different position, hoping it doesn't affect his hitting.
He just literally had a streak of where he was batting 160 over that week, and then he had
It's a blip.
Look, he was a high draft pick. I think he was a second round pick, and never really given that chance to play full time. He's not great defensively anywhere. That's why I'm saying he doesn't get to lock down second base.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. It's like, hey, can he play a corner outfield spot? Yeah, he can, but not great. Can he play third base? Yeah, but not great. But again, who's playing great defense right now on this team other than Adley Rutschman?
Well, and Sam's catching most of it, isn't he?
No, Adley's caught. They've been going back and forth, but
That's
Adley's caught.
Right?
I think Adley's caught more games than Sam. Well, that's not fair because Adley got hurt.
Well, that's
so
true
maybe
too.
it's closer.
But I will say this, and I don't know if there's a correlation. I always thought when they were looking for a first base, and obviously it's not going to happen now because Alonso's here. Mm-hmm. I thought because Sam was coming up.
That's a 4-year deal with Alonso too, and
right.
You could move him to a DH spot.
This was before. This was before Alonso was here, but I was thinking have Adley switch to first because you had Sam coming up and you needed to make room for him. Because I think what happened was Adley was a great hitter in college, like high average hitter. And I think when he got to the big leagues, he had to concentrate more on his catching to the point where I think it was a detriment to his hitting. And now that he's got a little bit more of a split, and he's also got the rapport with the pitchers already, he doesn't have to, not that I'm saying he doesn't work as hard, but he doesn't have to work as hard to do that kind of stuff. It's allowed him, I think, to focus on his hitting, and now he's hitting again. Yeah. Like he was one of those guys, and I think it was Tim Kirkjian was like, this guy he's a guaranteed hitter in the big leagues. Whatever they do, and they don't normally say that, but they were like, his hitting will
being
translate.
A college player too, his ascension to the majors was shorter than most people.
Right, but like hitting was never supposed to be the worry for him. Mm-mm. It was the defense, right? So I'm like, look, and I also think part of the reason is they try to make Adley the hitter that he wasn't by changing his approach. And that's actually what happened to Jeremiah Jackson with his former club, and he said this. He said they tried to have me hit a certain way, and it just wasn't his style. Mm-hmm. And so then the Orioles basically said, you be you, whatever you, and he worked with the hitting, and he got back to like his train of thought in the batter's box and his swing. He went back to some of the things he was doing, and that's why he's probably hitting better now than he had with his old club that just gave up on him. Because he was not an Orioles draft pick. He came from another team.
Yeah, he was with the Mets, and then there was another team in there too.
But they try to shoehorn him into the hitter that they wanted. And I think that's kind of what the Orioles had done with Adley a little bit. Whereas, like, we want you swinging, but we want you on base, but we want you to hit home run. Like, it's all home run focused for the Orioles for the most part.
I think there was a lot of adjustments being made, and there were some injuries along the way, too, that really screwed up some stuff for these guys. Mm-hmm. Gunnar right now is not hitting, but when he does, they're going out of the yard. And
he will.
I'm not concerned about any of that stuff.
He's not going to hit under 200 the whole year.
But this is where we get to everybody and their mother wanted to get rid of Adley last year. It's like, oh, he's not this, he's not that. And you're going, why would you move on from this kid that you drafted him over Bobby Witt Jr. because you knew you were going to get Gunnar Henderson where you got him and be able to sign him. And it works out. You get a switch hitting catcher. and people wanted to give up on him after a couple of injuries, and it's like, no, ride this thing out and see what happens.
And the other thing is you'd be selling low on the guy.
Yeah.
My whole thing was, let's not make him a catcher anymore. Let's just move him somewhere so he can concentrate on hitting.
I think that's the thought process, that he may eventually be a first baseman. But you know what's funny is I think that guy's talented enough to move him anywhere in the infield to play. I'm not saying I want him as my shortstop, but he's way more athletic than people want to give him credit for.
People don't remember this because they're not old enough. Craig Biggio. He was a catcher for the Houston Astros, and he switched to second base,
and then center field.
But then he ended up being more second base.
Yeah.
That was ended up being his more permanent.
But the fact that he played all the positions up the middle, and at the end of his career, he moved more out to center field, and I'm like, who do they send out to cover more ground as they get older?
Yeah, and so I think because Sam seems to be the shit. I mean,
the bat's real.
The bats, but I also think his defense is all right.
It's good. I mean, he needs to improve on that, but like the bat is major league ready.
Yeah,
it always was.
So yeah. Anyway, I don't even know where we started that portion. Somehow we ended up in the Orioles.
Yeah.
Did we end up? We went from gambling. How did we end up in baseball? Oh, anyway, whatever. Anyway,
never know.
But want to thank you all for joining us. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, or just want to tell me we suck, go ahead. Everything is welcomed. Might not read it, but it's welcomed. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Want to thank Adam Chubbuck, TACMD.com. That's TACMD.com. Go over there and get your real estate information from Adam. And we will see you next week.